Yes. So my mantra is your best is good enough. And, I think there's a lot to unpack with that, right? So I think it goes two ways. Like the first part of the mantra is, well, first of all, let me back up. I heard that for the first time from lactation consultants who are, the lactation partners who were my lactation consultants. And they were saying it to me in reference to just like doing your best with breastfeeding and motherhood. And when I heard that, it was 11 years ago. I have since shared that time and time again with the community that I ran, Bump Club and Beyond, and then also just with moms that I would come across. And I think that just as moms and parents in general, we often don't give ourselves enough credit for what we do every day. And I think it's really important from time to time just to take a step back and remind yourself that you are doing your best, and that is all you can do for your kids. And your kids just want to be loved and they want you to be there for them. And doing your best shows them that. But I also think as parents and as moms in general, or more specifically as moms, I think it's important to recognize that everyone's just doing their best. And I think it's, all too often I see moms criticizing other moms or coming down on other moms or being hard on other moms, even for simple things like not answering a text message or not getting back to people. You really don't know what people have going on and what's going on in their life or behind the curtains, or maybe not behind the curtains, but you don't know the specifics of what people are dealing with. And it's really important to tell yourself that everyone's just doing their best and cut people a break sometimes. I mean, really and truly, I think I see just too often moms not supporting each other. And, when you see a chance to compliment another mom or support another mom, take it, give it, because you want that too. And I think the more we spread that with each other, the more other people are going to spread that too. I mean, when you get paid a compliment, it's like, oh my God. And it reminds you how good it feels. Pass that along, because everyone is just doing their best. And the best is, it's defined differently for everyone's lives, right? Like, I mean, everyone's best is a little bit different. But no one goes out every day and says, oh, I'm going to do a crap job as a mom. I mean, everyone is simply doing their best to hold it together, especially right now. I mean, it's back to school time, and I think it's the hardest time of the year. And I would have said that 3 years ago, prior to the pandemic. I very, very vividly remember sharing stories in my Instagram about how back to school, I think, is harder than end of the school year. And it's, you're coming off of the summer, your kids are going back to after school activities and schedules and homework and this and that, and you're trying to fit and piece everything together, and you're doing your best, obviously, to do that. And this year we have this other layer on top of it, which is the pandemic, and making sure our kids are safe and healthy and wearing masks and, following all the protocols. So again, I cannot reiterate it enough to just support one another and cut everyone some slack, and know that everyone is just out there trying to keep it together and do their best.
I agree completely, 100%. You gave me shivers. What do you love most about being a mom in Chicagoland?
So I lived in the city as a parent, as a mom, for about 6 years, and we live in the suburbs now. We live in the northern suburbs, and I thought I was going to miss the city so much, and in so many ways I do. But I feel so lucky to be so close to the city. And that is really what I love about being a mom in Chicagoland. There is so much to do. And now my kids are 7 and 10. So it's very different than when I lived in the city. It'll be almost 5 years. It'll be 5 years in this winter. But there is just so much to do. And growing up, I didn't live near a big city. I lived near Detroit. And at the time, Detroit had not experienced its revitalization. And we never really went downtown. But I think so many parents in the suburbs who have been in the suburbs for so long often think the city's so far, or it's such a pain, or it's such a schlep. It so isn't. And we are so lucky to have this amazing, world-class, huge city with museums and exhibits and our waterfront or Maggie Daly Park. I mean, we went downtown for dinner the other night and had a couple hours to kill before we just decided to go early. And I only had my little one with me, and we did a spot hero, which I know a lot of people find parking in the city really daunting, but because of the pandemic, there's actually so much parking available, and you just have to put spot hero on your phone. And we parked at Maggie Daly Park for $10. Right underneath. We came right up, and she got to play for like 45 minutes. But having these things at your fingertips is just amazing. And even in the suburbs, like, I'm trying to think some of the things that we do. I mean, we have great beaches up here too that we go to often. We go to Wisconsin a lot. I mean, we live 45 minutes from the border. So, we'll go to Milwaukee, or there's some great ropes courses over the border that we've gone to. There's also some great parks and state parks around that we've gone to. So you really have everything at your fingertips. And I also think the pandemic showed us how much we had outdoors and how tolerable it could be to be outside. I mean, we spent more time outside this winter than we ever have in our lives. It's always so cold. So, in the past, we would default to like a movie or an indoor climbing gym or like a trampoline park. And those places are all great and they definitely serve its purpose. But with winter coming up, I want to challenge everyone to really take a good hard look at some of the awesome outside opportunities that we have, from tubing hills to ski hills to ice skating rinks, and you can go snowshoeing. We've been winter hiking. Like, there's really so many opportunities. And I think that that's what's so amazing about living in Chicago. Like, we have this world-class city in our backyard with restaurants and museums and stores and, crazy things like, JoJo's Milk Bar, and which my kids love, we have that, but then you also have this great outdoors that you can take advantage of all season. I mean, with fall coming up, there's apple orchards and, all of that stuff as well. And then with the winter, you can do all the winter sports. And then of course, summer, we know there's no better time than summer in Chicago.
That's for sure. I agree. We've touched on some of your advice for other parents, but what other pieces or a piece of advice would you have for other parents?
I really try to tell parents, and I try to practice this too, just to take things in stride and let things roll off your back. And, also, like, I think I'm experiencing this more now as my kids are growing up, and you would probably agree with me. There's like more drama as your kids get older, and, especially with parents and the kids' relationships. Let it roll off your back. Don't get too tied up in that. It's just, sometimes little things seem really big, and then the biggest picture, they're not. And I really try to focus on my family and not on others. And, when my kids, not my big kid, but like when my little kid will come home, when my little one will come home and like tell on someone or tell me that someone did something to them, we really try to redirect the focus back on them and what they can control, because you can't control other people, right? So like, you can't control if someone's being mean. I can't control if another mom's being mean. So I focus on myself and what I can control to make the situation better or to move on from the situation. So I try to tell parents not to take things too seriously and, focus and when a situation needs your attention, focus on that. But the other stuff, focus on your family, focus on yourself, making sure that you are doing what's right and your kids are doing what's right. I also like to tell parents it's important to be flexible. I think sometimes, we'll have a grand picture of what like a weekend looks like, right? And we'll say, we're going to do this activity and we're going to go here for brunch, and maybe we're having family pictures or whatever it might be. Kids don't work like that. And no kid works like that. So when you're in the situation and your kid has the meltdown, just know that other kids do too. And it's totally normal. And sometimes you just have to pivot and switch it up. And, sometimes you have to cancel plans. If your kids are incredibly overtired, might not be the best idea to go take them out and do something stimulating, because then you're going to have a meltdown on your hands. So I think flexibility as a parent is so important as well.